Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Everett Anderson. I don't have this title because it's kind of like a random stream. Put a couple of things out there that I've seen. A couple of things I kind of want to talk about. Some stuff that's going in my Discord. So make sure y'all keep out a look for, not only Basic Compassionate Calluses Discord, because that is coming up. So I just want to let y'all know. Pretty much, I'm not gonna roll it out. Some of y'all are gonna see the link and stuff, but I'm not gonna roll it out to like my people, because I'm not trying to make it like another extension of my stuff. I actually want to get different people in there, and then eventually I'll probably roll it out to you all. So I'm gonna keep it real. It's probably gonna be next year when I really start hard pushing it, like December, like January, when I start hard pushing it for you all to go in there, because I want to probably get like 400, 500 people in there before I push my people in there. I want to get my people to kind of press it to the point we can get it at 1,000. So keep that in mind. But this is just some random stream. A couple of things I want to like talk about a little bit. I want to talk about the Andrew Wilson thing, and I want to make it clear. Some people have been going back and forth with Coach Greg Adams and Andrew, which I've already kind of talked about. I've already kind of talked about, what I think about that debate. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. It's really just, okay, let's have a real conversation about, basically dudes doing what's in their best interest versus dudes sacrificing and going into marriage when this stuff is a dumpster fire. It really is. And the legal frame, the cultural framework is not there right now, and the legal framework is not there right now. And it hasn't been there for a long time. It's just certain cultures have certain barriers or protections that other cultures don't, or they haven't been properly assimilated into the United States like that. So people are not really wanting to have an honest conversation about marriage. It's not really about marriage in itself. It's about the things that are designed to support marriage. Like, let me give you an example. Let me be very clear. I'm not a shipping expert. I'm not a boat expert, but I do watch a lot of boat videos. So I know a little bit more than like the average person that's not in that industry. I'll talk to people that they do dredging, out here, that they do dredging. They do, I've talked to dudes that are deckhands. I actually talked to a white dude. Maybe a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about, like I said, I don't really have like an issue with white men or white people in general. It's just when white people are on their bullshit, it fucking annoys me, because it really does. Because they think they're the superior race, whether they like to act like they are or not. They act like they think that or don't. But real talk, it should be a higher standard. And white people do a lot of covering their own bullshit up. A lot of their, lesser thans, dumber shit like that. I just got done, watching this recent season of The Witcher. And you forget, like, the tears of white folks. So I don't have an issue with white. But it's like when people are on that bullshit, that shit just has to be called out. Because at this point, it's really affecting the country, because it's hurting the ability to turn shit around. Anyway, I was talking to him, and he talked about how it's not a lot of people don't know about like being a deckhand and stuff like that. And that's actually something that, low-key young black folks may want to get into, but you know how black people reputation, us in the water. But because they don't let us do the oil rig shit, because those are only a set amount of jobs, and they be trying to protect that for them white boys. But that deckhand shit, he was saying, like, it's not a lot of people involved in that. I'm too old for that. But if you're somebody in your early 20s and you trying to get money, that has been a thing where they will do that for a year or two and build their money up. And apparently it's not a lot of people doing that. So right now with that skill set, because you got to kind of know somebody to get into it. And there are some black people in it, but not that many. But my point is, let me see. We were talking about so as far as the Andrew thing, I've never told y'all, like, here's the thing that kills me. There's a difference between making you aware of certain conversations that are going on, and then me actively telling y'all to support this, support that. y'all know good and well, and I just want to be clear, and this actually isn't in at any particular person. This is just because this conversation was had, and I really wasn't like hyper focused on every comment. I just know where the conversations were going, you know, in my Discord, and it is what it is. People are allowed to talk about this. This is not the Indian situation, and even in the Indian situation, I have a chat, I have a channel specifically for that, and people have been sending me stuff here or there, some stuff more than others that are actually worthy of me maybe looking at. So, you know, rather than me just niggas just saying shit. But I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. But they were talking about it. It's like, yo, let me be clear here. There's a difference, like I said, of me making people aware of something, of a conversation, where stuff is going based on what I've seen, and then me telling you to actually support something. And a lot of y'all don't seem to know the difference, because a lot of y'all are listening with your hearts on certain shit. And I'm not trying to call y'all feminine or nothing. I'm just saying y'all are not, logic is not the main driver of this. Y'all ain't never heard me tell you to subscribe to Andrew Wilson. You ain't never heard me, hell, I've told y'all to look at Ho-Man more than probably him back in the day. You know, maybe like a year ago. But the thing is, a lot of these white boys, and you know, they always throw the dog whistles out there, and some of them are better than others at cloaking it. But as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh no. And that's really why I don't really even, like, I almost have a standing policy that when it has anything to do with manosphere related, like in general, because this is a manosphere channel, a black manosphere channel, so I'm not really gonna share anything outside of that with you all for the most part, like as a standard kind of continuous thing. But when but anything that's like manosphere like related, I'm for the most part, I'm not going to tell you all to go and subscribe to. I'm just not. Number one, I like to promote smaller channels, but number two, too many of them have the dog whistle shit. Too many of them, and the reason why the dog whistle shit kind of annoys me as much as it does is because, number one, most of these motherfuckers are not talking about the shit that really needs to be talked about. Like, this isn't like, okay, y'all talk about the good shit, but then y'all throw these dog. No, you don't. Y'all are actually way more focused on the dog whistles. I'm talking about white dudes now. The dog whistles, then y'all are actually fuck black men, putting y'all in a better. Y'all are not even, and y'all seem to not even be on the ball enough. Fuck black men to put y'all in a better situation. You know, that kind of union where black people couldn't be in unions, but they would protect their own economics. They're not even on that level right now. They're too busy really on some incel LDE, little dick inner LDE, you know, we're the righteous guys. And trying to, they do the same shit black men do with black women. It's like you're trying to appeal to their nature rather than really understanding a big reason why white women, and obviously majority of white women deal with white men. Let's be very clear about that. The issue really is that it's enough of a percentage of, even if it's a small percentage of white women, it's enough of a percentage of, really, white men shouldn't even be worried about white women that are fucking. It's not that many of them really fucking black men like that. That's not really the issue. Black men are 66% of the population, but to the extent that they bitch about it, the issue is that they don't like the sexual leverage that white women are using to bother white men. That's really what their real issue is. And rather than them deploying punishments, mechanisms to disincentivize that from white women and let them know you're not going to be able to participate in quote unquote pretty white privilege that a white woman gets to enjoy in this economy if you're considered a mug shark, rather than you using that to basically put a vice grip on your own bitch. To the extent that you all can do that, which is harder to do that now because white women have a damn near whole party, aka the Democrats, that will support their interests, and the corporations have betrayed you. See, rather than y'all going after all of the mechanisms that support women and protect women and doing that bullshit that y'all don't like and making it very clear that won't be tolerated, y'all want to punch down the black men. That is the epitome of that's the epitome of bitch assness. And quite frankly, that's how the corporations know they got y'all cooked. They got y'all by the balls. A lot of y'all don't even want to go overseas. Like, truth be told, the incel problem in the white community could be very easily solved if a lot of these motherfuckers actually went overseas, even to get their confidence up. And it's much easier for white people, white men to do that than black men to do that. This is how you know they're really not interested in actually solving their own problem. What they want to do is punch down and scratch that itch of I hate Reagans. If you know, you know. That's what y'all more interested in. Y'all and black women have so much in common. The only difference is white men have a more of understandable power dynamic, and black men allow black women to have the power dynamic that we have. It's really pathetic when you really understand it, even outside of a racial thing. It's the same thing with like Shadur Sanders. You all would rather the NFL be a worse product than you all actually step the fuck up, because you all cannot produce decent quarterbacks anymore. That's the problem. You all ran the clock out on Tom Brady, Drew Brees. Tom Brady was just a competitor. You know, Drew Brees, all he do, Stafford is 37. Phillip Rivers is done. All these people are done. And y'all don't really, Kirk Cousins is nowhere near. Kirk Cousins ain't even Eli Manning level, Stafford level. Kirk Cousins is just good for what's in there right now. Josh Allen is like the only one. The NFL was supposed to have Josh Allen, Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was still supposed to be in there. Josh Allen's in there. Joe Burrow's supposed to not be hurt. You always got to have at least at least 4 good white quarterbacks for them to try to shift it. And then you have like a Mahomes or a Prescott. People got to remember, Prescott is not even doing his potential, his best potential. If Prescott was any good to what he's supposed to be, Jalen Hurts wasn't even supposed to be as good as he is. So it could really be more black quarterbacks than it already is. We forget how many times they keep on screwing over black quarterbacks to constantly like shift them out of the league. Justin Fields is going through that right now. He's going through basically a RG3. I'm not saying all of them are just being completely bullied out. The Shadur Sanders is kind of a unique situation with how open it is. But my point is, you all are protecting white mediocrity. The level of racism, the level of just like, this shit is sad at this point, because it's not really about power, because power doesn't need to be that macho. It just doesn't. So when you all do this R, like y'all, like that doesn't mean anything no more. Like, you calling somebody R ain't gonna stop these white bitches. And really, these white bitches are a big reason why you got a lot of non-white women fucking with black men to the level that they do. Other than the dynamics in the United States. But y'all not even smart enough. And then the YN problem is really a problem. Y'all, it's really a blowback of your racism. You would have a lot more Carltons and a lot less YNs if you didn't if you all didn't subvert black men to the extent that you did. We know why y'all do it. Y'all do it because y'all are petrified at any melanin, you know, even if black men have mixed kids, y'all are just petrified of that. The genetic insecurity, which is ironic, because when you really look at melanin, like the untouchables in India, even though they don't fuck with black people at all, that's like 400 million people. 500 million people by itself. That's like 40% of Africa. Straight like that. And they don't even count really as African. Like, the main reason why black people are shifted around the world as they are, I don't want to hear about no Indian shit. The main reason is because of the slave trade. Y'all shifted all these motherfuckers to the Western. Y'all, like, real talk, the Western hemisphere would be so much less black and a lot more whiter. Because say what y'all want to about the Indian situation, nobody's debating that a lot of Africans were put in South America. Nobody's debating that. Nobody's debating that Africans were put in the islands. The debate, to the extent that people want to have that, is really North America. You wouldn't have that. This stuff is a result of the things you all did. I'm not saying there was no black people here before at all, but it was. But people forget that, you know, in like 1776, it was only 800 million people on the planet. See, people don't think about that. They really don't. They don't think about that. And all this effort, shout out to Professor Black Truth, talking about medical genocide. Y'all have been doing this population control. I get why y'all really do it. But y'all have done it to the point where you, unless y'all deal with the womb, the artificial womb, you all are cooked. It's 60% Asians right now. Out of 8 billion people. And a lot of those Asians are more melanated than people like to give credit for. Because remember, 1.5 billion of those are brown. And then a lot of these Asians, Southeast Asians outside of them are more browner. But people don't like to think about that. My point is, this stuff is y'all fault. And what y'all like to do, and so all that racism, I mean, y'all can have it. But it's to the point now where it's like, yo, I love it. I love it. You know, if black people learn how to get around economic situation to the extent that they need to, y'all prejudice and racism is irrelevant. Because the reality is, all that's doing is wasting time for you all to solve your own problems. And it ain't even got nothing to do with black people. Y'all don't even see the real threats, the economic threat of the Chinese. Y'all don't even see the real threats. Y'all sitting here lusting over Eastern Europeans as if the Russians are completely not their own block. It's a beautiful thing. SWP has talked about this. Like, you ain't supposed to help your enemy make mistakes. The problem is, unfortunately, we're tethered to y'all to a certain extent in the United States. So if we don't have like our backup plan, well, we got a long way to go to get to that point, we're cooked too. I say all that to say this though. So I get all of that. But the reality is, y'all don't see me really promoting, y'all see me talk about conversations. I've talked about the pregnancy thing. Andrew's talking about that. And so I say, yo, here's a clip here, here's a clip there. To the extent that I even share those clips. Usually I just speak on it. I don't give y'all links. Y'all can go down my community tab and see all that shit there. Y'all ain't never seen a whole bunch of white shit being shared. The closest you get to it is me sharing Darius M. or Poor Man Podcast. Because they'll talk about it in the aggregate. I'm one of the better ones when it comes to stuff like that. And y'all, and a lot of y'all are out here talking about, oh, you promoting Andrew. Like y'all need to stop that shit. And if I was, I wouldn't give a fuck. But the reality is, y'all need to stop that bullshit. YouTube, I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. YouTube is a whole ocean. And y'all trying, I don't know where the fuck a lot of y'all get off trying to regulate somebody. Like, seriously. I don't know, like, cause the thing that kills me is, y'all ain't never heard me say, subscribe to Andrew, go to Andrew's channel. Y'all barely hear me talk about the whatever show. So I don't know, a lot of y'all are a lot more, y'all be sharing, like, Legion of Men isn't even in my algorithm. Cause I would correct that shit quick. But I see y'all be sharing shit in there. So a lot of y'all engage with the white manosphere even more than I do. But then it's like, y'all, oh man, I don't like Andrew. And let's keep it real. A lot of y'all don't like Andrew for two reasons. You think he's a closet racist, and you all don't respect him as a man. You all see him as an Al Bundy, pot-bellied dude that got with a single mother. Like, y'all, that's really what it is. But that's not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on the talking points. That's what I'm focused on. But y'all are not focused on that, which is where me and y'all be locking horns with. Y'all are not, that comes first for me. Y'all are on some who the person is versus what the point is. Now, I'm not saying that who the person is irrelevant. completely irrelevant. The biggest reason why I was even talking about Andrew is because Andrew is giving these bitches business over the age thing, the paternity fraud, and the women trying to redo what age of consent is. They're trying to culturally shift that. That's the biggest reason why you even hear me bring up Andrew, because Andrew takes that directly to white women. It ain't like he's jumping on what black women and as a makeshift. Well, the show, the whatever show, is basically the white version of Fresh and Fit, and they have 4 million subscribers. They mainly, they're basically a very good white variable, like what white society is. And there's some black people there every once in a while. Q-Pill I found there. I don't watch the show like that. I really don't, because it's too fucking long. It's like 8 hours. It may not be as long like that no more, and honestly, I don't really care. But it gives you an idea of what the greater situation is. And when you combine that with like SWP, because he speaks on that shit a little bit more, this is where, I mean, you gotta remember, we're not our own nation onto ourselves, guys. If these laws have to get changed, other people have to be having these problems too, right? So you have to frame it in what is the problem everybody's having, and then you push the ones that will benefit us the most to get shifted. But people, it's like they don't like Andrew, so it's on some, fuck that nigga. I don't give a fuck. Y'all know I don't like academics. It's a lot of people I don't like. But I'm not gonna let that get in the way of what's going on in the system. My own personal feelings about shit. And a lot of y'all can't see the forest from the trees because y'all too focused on like real nigga politics. Real nigga politics doesn't solve a goddamn thing. The only reason why real nigga politics even exists at all is because too many black men are on that shit. So you have to take that into consideration when you're politicking with black men. But other than that, real nigga politics in a greater society doesn't mean shit. So when niggas try to come out with some real nigga politics, that's really what it is. Y'all see him as a beta male just trying to masquerade using Tragicon, and I get all that because I see that shit too. But that has nothing to do with the actual conversation of what's being had. Because just like how people will sit here and say, like, I'm not married, I don't have kids. He's had kids, he's married. Whether his shit is jumbled up, people will be like, well, nigga, how do I know you got a bitch? But you can get a bitch because you ain't married without kids. There's people that actually think that. So there's a certain standing that he has just because those steps have been crossed. And people will say, like, it's not about red pill and all. It's not about that. You have to know what's going on in order to be able to shift this shit, or know how you can shift these levers to your favor. But niggas don't be paying attention, and what they want to do is they want to focus on the individual, which really I've always said is irrelevant. I'm consistent with that. So it's crazy, man. It's like, yo, it doesn't matter. Like, just like I don't sit here and say, well, any bitch over 40 is automatically cooked. That may be kind of true, but the thing is, I will break down what the situation is, what the issue with Cheyenne Bryan is. Even if I don't like her, I don't just keep talking shit about the bitch. I actually break down where the bullshit actually is. Where her bullshit actually is. Where is the code, the break in the code? Same thing with fucking Sarah Fontenot. That's why I was able to shift to say, okay, she's actually producing the nigga she with, which is something Cheyenne never did. Because for people like, and that doesn't mean Sarah's like a bona fide example, but what it does, but it is, you got to be able to explain that. Otherwise, people just gonna dismiss you as you just talking shit, because that's what they want to do anyway. So we got to go sometimes the long way for these fools that want to act like they don't understand. And the problem is the people that act like they don't understand have a lot of influence on a lot of these guys that don't know. Also, you're seeing younger people get into this shit. And if we demonstrate we can actually explain this shit better than the naysayers, then that's going to increase our influence. That's the point. And look, I'm not trying to tell y'all what the fuck to do, because at the end of the day, y'all are own individuals. But I'm telling you why I do what I do. And why it seems like I'm just throwing shit, I'm just dismissing, being dismissive. No, it's not that I'm being dismissive. I've had these conversations before with you all, and I've talked to you all about this shit before. So I'm not about to go through the long way again and again, because people be on one. And like I said, it is the Discord. I don't be jumping in them conversations like that. I may throw like a series of voice notes, so if y'all want to, because I'm in the Discord a lot, so that is another extension with me other than the YouTube thing, where these conversations are had. But yeah, I mean, she was already exposed. It's just, you gotta have, unfortunately, because black people, we're in the black community, you gotta have a real nigga or a dude. Remember, Paul Pierce has been married, has kids, NBA player, like 6'6", from the hood, from Inglewood. So you can't, so all these check boxes have to be checked in order for it to stand on what it stands on. And he's from around her way, so, which is something you rarely see. So she really couldn't lie. You gotta have all of these like boxes checked to kind of put together this kind of keep it real, like telling it what it is jutsu. If any one of them boxes, maybe he could have got away with him not being around her way, but if he wouldn't have been from the hood like that, any one of them boxes, and then he's an NBA player, you have to have all of that checked in order to be able to say some shit. That's not how you run a fucking community. It's not. That's like every motherfucker's playing dodgeball and you gotta corner their ass to the point where they can't do nothing but just get hit. You can't run, shit cannot run like that. And really, it just comes down to you niggas wanna fuck. The only reason why that bitch has as much say as she does is two reasons. One, cause niggas weak ass, like these niggas keep platforming her. And two, and these women want to act like the dudes with all the power representative of the normal black man out here. And number two, because a lot of you goofy ass niggas will fuck her. Cheyenne Bryant is not all of that. She really isn't, especially now. Cheyenne Bryant wasn't all of that when she was 30, when she was in her early 30s. I mean, she's attractive. She's the type of person, great. If she's gonna act right and to play her position, yeah, she looks good, cinnamon brown. But the problem is when she's on I'm gonna do what the fuck I want and I'm gonna be a problem, then it's like, nah, bitch, you for the street. She is not the type of bitch that a nigga's gonna trick on and get her like just drop a car on or something like that. She's the type of chick that she's attractive at work. She's got to have skills. Not know I can just be out here like a Ruby Rose or an India Love and then money's just going to find me. And I'm not saying she's not attractive, but she's not like that. Cheyenne Bryant is like a 7. And I'm talking about when she was like 29, 28, 29, 30. Now she's like a 6. And really, that's with makeup. She's starting to age. Let's just keep that all the way real. That's like comparing niggas be like, man, I'll fuck Melissa Ford even at 47. Yeah, but you know, you wouldn't even think about it if Melissa Ford at 47 ain't Melissa Ford at 38, ain't Melissa Ford at her peak at like 26, 25. You wouldn't even hesitate to pick one over the other. You know, it wouldn't even be a choice. So let's cut the bullshit. And at the end of the day, Melissa Ford at 47, it ain't like you about to have kids with her. So my point is, y'all get it. Like, that ain't nobody to brag about. It really ain't. A lot of these shit, I mean, truth be told, Ebony K. Williams looked a hell of a lot better than her, Ebony K just look tired now because, again, she had that body. She had that kid late. And regardless of what y'all be saying, that shit is hard on your body. All these excuses, people talk about geriatric sperm and all of that. Nobody's making y'all have kids with older niggas, older dudes. Y'all choose to do that. But the truth is, like, age to age, Ebony K looks better than her. And it ain't even just so much the light skin. The only issue with Ebony K is her voice. These chicks their mentalities are fucked up. That's the issue. They're culturally deficient. They are cultural trash. Even with their degree, they are not cultural. They get an F, they get like a D on the cultural card. They really do. They get a D on a cooperative card, they get a D on a cultural card. That's the issue. I'll give you a perfect example. Line all of them up with line all of them up against Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's wife, even Ayesha Curry. And you like don't even do like Savannah LeBron's wife. Do Vanessa Bryant, because that could have went left. And they all fall short on the fundamental shit that counts. That's the issue. And it wasn't, the Vanessa Bryant wasn't no lay down chick either. So it's important for these conversations to be had all like openly, all wet from everybody. That way people, because you know the bullshit they used to say in this space, oh man, you know, this only is talked about in the black community. As if the white manosphere has ever been smaller than the black manosphere. But they talking about this shit don't get talked about nowhere else except the black community. Just all these bullshit ass excuses. Now they don't say that no more, do they? So that's my point. There's a difference between knowing what's going on and then me sitting there actively telling y'all to support somebody. Y'all know the difference. Stop playing like y'all don't know the difference. Y'all know, you know when I'm supporting, telling y'all to subscribe to somebody. The Dumper is a perfect example of that. Only Logical is a perfect example of that. You ain't never seen me, like HOMAP is like the closest I've ever said to y'all subscribe. And truth be told, there's a technical thing about HOMAP. HOMAP is very good at the emotional labor and the emotional womanese side. And he does it in very bite-sized clips. So there's a technical reason why, you know, that he's come bringing that nobody else is really bringing to the table. You know, in as small size as he does as far as clips. Which is why I was telling people to subscribe to him. Now, I have heard, I think, one dog whistle, but and that's all I needed was to kind of chill from him. Because like I said, and this is how you also know that we were right to create the black manosphere on our own. We were absolutely right. Because the thing about it is white men want black men to worship them like these other races be doing to a certain extent. And black men are just not built that way. Even black men that people say act white are not trying to be white. Those are two different things. And black people unfortunately don't know the difference in that. But yeah, I'm sorry, you know, but they really empathize with that. They really try to act like the incel problem. If you didn't have black men, you wouldn't have an incel problem. Well, Europe is a perfect example of that. That's not true. Europe is a perfect example is that's not true. Europe has a Muslim problem. And when them white women are fucking Muslims, now what? Now what? Now what? What's up, Xander with a Z? Now what? Europe is fucking Muslims. Now what? You got the Turks, not just Arabs, the Turks, who Ottoman, who really are, cause they're pretty much white, just Muslim. And there are white, a lot of people don't understand that. There are white Muslims. Like if you pick up a lot of people from like the Balkans or Yugoslavia, or deal with a lot of people, you will deal with white people if they never open their mouth. You look at them, you would think they were just some lily southern white woman or some white woman from Appalachia and shit. And turn out these motherfuckers are full Muslim, like for real, for real. I mean, lily white, white. They look white, feature white, all of that. Bosnia, yeah. Motherfuckers don't know that. They don't understand that. So it's more of them than you think. They're not all, okay, they're just saying Reagans or something. No. The Turks were white. They were just that Muslim thing they couldn't deal with. And so it was basically the Western Europeans, the Slavs, and then the Turks and Armenians and all of that. And so my point is, it's not that much of a jump like you think, especially if they're not on that Orthodox, Orthodox Muslim shit, if they're not on that. But people don't think about that. These Jewish people are way more white than they are Israeli. Like, they're like 90% white. Like, people don't think about that because we just look at it as white. So my thing is, Europe ain't got nothing to do with African Americans because they didn't bring black people over there to be slaves. Yet you still have this problem. And this problem is actually a lot worse in Europe than it actually is in the United States. It ain't that many black Africans over there. And there ain't African Americans over there. So what's your problem? So we know this is not true. Even if I were to take that into consideration, when you actually think about it, when you actually look at it, it's like, no, that isn't, no. It's not true. It's not true at all. But yeah, y'all are so fucking, I don't know if it's an epigenetic memory or whatever, insecure. And y'all actually empathize with these losers. If you can't make it in this, I don't care, even in this environment. If you are a white, Grant Cardone said that shit. If you are a white man, I don't care if you start from zero. If you are a white man and you can't make it in the United States of America, even in this environment, you are a fucking loser. Because if you can't make it as a you can't make it as a white man in this environment, you all have no hope. If you all were black, you all would have no hope. You are a fucking loser. Because because a lot of the cultural, it's not just about the economics, it's about the cultural stuff and the advantages of you not being fucked with. You are a fucking loser. Period. I will say that even today. With all the stuff going on. And I have empathy for the Z's, but at the end of the day, y'all still come out of white households, which means you all are always like a couple of degrees away from some real decent money. A lot of y'all basically hoard wealth from each other, which is why y'all are fucked up. Yeah, and they let it be that way. Nobody invaded Europe. They did that because they wanted cheap labor, just like in the United States. And if you look at all the countries that didn't do that, like the Northern European countries or some of the Dutch countries, they don't have that problem. Yeah, Indonesia, we're not even talking about like the Muslim Asians. Pakistan is Muslim. 350 million people. People don't think about that. They really don't. And that's fine. But my point is, y'all, they sit here and that's really what it is. If we didn't have any Reagans, we wouldn't have any sexual problems. Which is really just code for, when it comes down to it, most of y'all can't really compete for real. Because black men are not really who you gotta worry about. Y'all gotta worry about what's going on outside the country. Because that is starting to more and more so creep into and affect what's going on inside the country. Boy, 7-Eleven is making a motherfucking comeback, ain't it? That's the real problem. And because you all can't grapple with that, you all just default to your programming, which is blame Reagans. Reagan all the time. And that's fine because black men are used to it. Yeah, we get annoyed about it more times than others. Like with this Shadur shit, it's as Aziz would say, it's peak LDE. Because it's just all the hoops. I'd rather y'all just say, fuck that showboating Reagan. And I hope he die. I hope he gets hurt and can't never play again. I'd rather y'all just say that. Rather than y'all trying to pretend like you all are the good guys and you all got like, it's not that I'm racist. It's that he does this. It doesn't matter. Shadur don't even fuck white women. Deion don't even fuck white women. And y'all hate this motherfucker. They gotta be like literally, like I gotta be honest. Shadur's like Deion Sanders has to be top 3. I'd say top 5, top 3 even. Most hated black men by white men. I wish I could do a poll. And I promise you Deion would be OJ. Deion would be even some of the ones today like Bill. I'm telling you. I wish there was a poll. Who is the black men y'all hate the most? That are real. And I promise you, Deion is getting top 3. I promise you. And he don't even fuck white women. That's what makes that so bad. Deion is a Christian. And an actual pretty bona fide Christian. Yeah, if they could hurt they hate him so bad. This motherfucker is a coach at a school that wasn't even hitting like that. It wasn't like, Deion took over like Penn State after Paterno had to leave. Or like one of y'all top schools y'all covet. This motherfucker is in Colorado. The level of hatred y'all got, it's to the point where y'all hope his son is, y'all like literally, if Deion died today, it would be motherfuckers cheering damn near like motherfuckers was saying that about Charlie Kirk. They would package up, patent, and drink Deion Sanders' tears. That is like some irrational shit. That is that is something, you gotta work hard for that shit. You gotta earn that type of anger, that type of hate. You don't even see white women really lusting after Shadur Sanders like that. Y'all act like Shadur Sanders is like Jonathan Majors, where it's like white women, or Michael B. Jordan with white women. And it's like, and this motherfucker does not showboat like y'all be talking. Y'all swear this motherfucker showboats. You can't even find like a top 5, top 10 clip of Shadur Sanders showboat. Like y'all literally have put all of the fucking racial stereotypes on this kid. And I mean, you got old motherfuckers, man. That white dude said that my grandfather was 80 years old when I was playing with Deion, and he said he would give me $10,000 to hurt Deion, and he didn't even know about the bounty program. 80 years old. Poland is like the first country that's considered an Eastern Bloc country. One weird thing I've been seeing on TikTok, that's weird as hell, is I don't know, I just gotta say this. Any black person that's saying that, the Russian language is originally black, whether it's true or not, shut the fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm seeing like Russian white people with deep Russian accents, straight up like KGB accents on TikTok. Like somehow that's like a thing that's emerging. And especially because only African Americans do that. Africans don't do that because they too scared of white people to do that. But any African Americans over there, saying that Russia really comes from shut the fuck up. I don't care if it's true. Let's assume it's true. Shut the fuck up. Russians are very, and I don't even say insecure in a bad way, but the Russians have been through a lot of shit. So let them have their history, because their history is, there's a lot of shit going on with their history. Especially when it comes to, you know, Western Europeans and Western powers. Let them, like, shut the fuck up. There's literally nothing to be gained by doing that. And black people, it's one thing when it comes to Egypt and shit like that, you know, because these motherfuckers be telling us we're less than, but Russians don't even, the Eastern Europeans, and a lot, some of them are racist, so make no mistake. But that's you just creating shit where you don't need to create shit. Even if it's true, there is no benefit of that information. There's no benefit to that information. So why say it other than antagonize somebody? And you know these white people love to bond over hating on black people. And when you give them something easy to, like, you know, say, oh, can you believe that? Of course, they think everything's fine. Don't do that. Stick to what we know is true and what we can show. Shut the fuck up. This is where a lot of motherfuckers get stupid. And they shouldn't even be able to. And they are showing videos of people saying that. What they're doing is people are saying in comments, which I would say you don't even know if those people are black. Real talk. Those legit could be bots. And I mean that. I know people always say that, but seriously. White people love to bond with other white people over hating on black people. If you want to bond with white people, just say you hate Reagans. And there's always a friend. Yeah. And it really showcases you're trying to find an identity. Like, shut the fuck up. And I even put it in that comment. I said, as an African American, as a black American, anybody that's saying that shit, I don't care how much you believe it, STFU, shut the fuck up. Because you do not speak for the majority. I want to put that comment in there. That is some, if y'all don't shut the fuck up. And it's really a lazy way, because most of these motherfuckers that really say that shit, they don't really have a holistic view of history. Like, we was Moors, we was this. They have their own niggas explaining shit that they be doing. These motherfuckers can't tell you anything outside of the bullshit they want to believe. Because that's what it is for black men. It's a belief. Something you're emotionally tethered to. And that's the problem. Y'all are not really going at it as some real academic history to really understand your world in the past. You're pushing it like you're pushing a religion. Some of the, yeah, that shit, like, especially when niggas be just jive talking, I don't like that. That's why I keep telling y'all better produce some real receipts. Not no, like, shout out to Home T History, shout out to From Nothing, not this, I'm just gonna jive talk. See, that jive talk don't work outside the black community. And too many niggas are doing that. And history is my thing. Niggas be on some please believe me shit. Yeah. I'm like, I look at history to inform what we need to do in the present and give you greater context. I don't, not to sit here and try to re-identify, like, I'm trying, like, nigga, you're not gonna erase the crack era, erase the stuff that happened in the past over some fucking, we was this, we was that, our history. Dude, that, niggas, notice that niggas that do that don't build. You notice that? Niggas that do that, these are not builders. These are dudes that typically, they use that as a way of emotionally hacking into females. And women fall for that shit. Exactly. And that's what you do. And yes, white people do be reorganizing history. They definitely lie. I'm not saying they don't. They lie their ass off. I'm not saying they don't, but what I am saying is when people do too much. They really do. And again, in the black community, that shit is acceptable because the bitches want to feel good. Because the bitches always want to feel exotic. That's really what that is. Shout out to Blessed Man with the $10 Cash App. Make sure y'all support the Cash App. These motherfuckers always want to feel exotic. And that's really what drives a lot of that is black people. They're trying to get away from, white people calling you dusty and all of that. And everybody, you trying to buy culture. When you try to finesse culture, that gives credence to people that say you have no culture. And a lot of y'all would rather finesse culture rather than taking the culture that we have here that's very in-depth. The last 300, 400 years, 300 years. Is very in-depth. Yeah. Most of these motherfuckers talk about the Moors. They don't even understand. You actually ask them who the Moors actually were. They can't tell you. The Moors were like Mandalorians, basically. That's what they really were. Not really, but you get what I'm saying. They weren't like their own thing onto themselves. But people don't want to really talk about that. It doesn't. And dudes get used to that because they get used to gassing, talking that bullshit to these bitches. And so they try to bring that outside the community. And they start looking stupid as fuck. Your history, no matter how you try to remix it, is not about to change what the situation we currently are in now and how we need to address that. And that's the thing a lot of you niggas are running away from. That's the problem. Y'all should be worried about what are motherfuckers gonna say about you 100 years from now or 50 years from now. For example, it is about to be 2030. We could say in the 80s, niggas was selling dope. That's something they gotta land with. What is history gonna say about you? That's what you should be worried about. Anyway. Make sure y'all hit the likes if y'all picking up what I'm putting down. Niggas want to talk about everybody else but they ass. What have black men been doing in the last 50 years? And I'm not sitting there to talk shit. I'm just sitting here like you gotta have a certain accounting. We know the shit exists. The racism and all that bullshit. But this is like the world is a global world now. It's a unique opportunity, man. There is something to a lot of like historical remixes. There is. Like, we've invented a lot more than people like to give us credit for. That bullshit white people like to talk about, well, we built buildings and castles and shit like that. Y'all had to. You all were violent as hell. You all had to. You all were in fucking the cold. There was no reason to build all that bullshit. But you have to have a certain amount of academic scrutiny with that. I believe it coming correct. The last thing I want to talk about is India Love. Shout out to Jada Black. He did a video and he was talking about, I haven't seen the video, so this is, just my opinion, but the title was talking about India Love want to be a wife now. India Love wants to be a wife now. India Love is a very attractive female. India Love seems like, you know, she's probably easy to deal with for the most part. You know, but India Love, number one, she's expensive. And number two, she's been around. That's not a good combination. It's not a good combination. She should have clocked out. Like Tory Briggs did. A lot of y'all need to start, don't want to clock out. And so, my thing with India is the problem. People talk about, yeah, man, it'd be a whole bunch of dudes simping for her. Here's the problem. She's not looking for any kind of dude. She's looking at a 6'7", 6 foot, 6 pack, 7 figures, 6 foot something in 7 figures. And there's not a lot of dudes like that. And the dudes that are like that know who they are. You're not gonna find no. And her clout ain't what it used to be. So you're not gonna find a Russell Wilson that's just trying to get with a black woman that's known, so they can sit here and then get in the retail. You don't have that, because she's known in social media circles. She ain't known like that. Right? And so the problem is, the niggas you want, they kind of know what you about. So it's kind of like, why are they gonna make that investment, especially with you at 30, when they can deal with you without doing that, without making that long-term commitment. And people always try to act like, oh, but everything ain't that logical. Yes, it is. Because a lot of these dudes have had her, and they know that. And that's like a negative status thing. So you may be able to get with somebody like, that's why she had to deal with DDG in the first place. And a lot of these social media dudes, honestly, are like, they're not trying to have no long-term girlfriend. Anyway, a lot of these dudes is really hitting like that. If she was 26, maybe. But her at 30, no, she's clocking out. And so NBA, like, dudes at that level, women, that's why Ruby Rose is by herself. Because she can't get the people she wants. Sure, she probably getting fucked, but she ain't getting claimed. And Ruby Rose has had that problem for a long time, not getting claimed. So, press 1 if y'all can hear me. Okay. But yeah, so it's kind of like, it's not just about attraction. Like, what you're looking for somebody to come off the market and be exclusive for you. No matter how good you look, if a dude is at a certain level, it doesn't work the same as when women get to a certain level. It actually works in the inverse, the way it's supposed to work. Why? Because men dole out resources and men dole out status. Men don't really get status from women like that. Sometimes they do, like Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey, but you gotta be hitting on shit. You can't be just an ain't shit nigga and then you just get all this status from a bitch. It doesn't work that way. He said in investing terms, it's called catching a falling knife. Exactly. She should have had this, and you know, when she's talking about she want to be married, that's how you know. The fact that she's verbalizing it is how you know she don't think she can really get it for real. Not with hitting all the things she want to hit. Right? But hey, what do I know? A dumbass got with Drea Michelle. If Drea Michelle could get a dumbass, if she willing to date younger, I'm sure India Love be able to get her in the young, black, rich, and green market. Hey, what do I know? And Dre and Michelle had kids. India Love don't even have kids. So what do I know? Yeah, they got mad. Jalen, yeah, these chicks be getting mad because they ain't got their way, and they be like, yo, y'all. Psh. Anyway. So anyway, y'all, I just wanted to give y'all that good hour. So much appreciated, man, y'all checking out, you know. Again, appreciate She Hate Me with the $10 on Cash App. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.